Back to class. I have a very special class today. I mean, every class is pretty special, I have to say. But this one is because of your guys' requests. So I listened and I wanted to do a little contest and pick out a model who fits the category. This is makeup for mature skin, makeup for anyone in their 40s, 50s, and up. And I mean, obviously you can still use these techniques when you're younger or older, but this is just kind of the more appropriate age group that this makeup is meant for. So I get a lot of requests about, mother of the bride and, people who just want to learn how to do their own makeup for special events. And, if you don't always get a chance to hire an artist, maybe you want to do it yourself at home and make it look like it's a lot more professional and clean than what you would have done before. So this is the class for you, for those of you wanting to do Mother of the Brides, or for those of you out there who are in this age group and want to just get better at doing your own makeup. So I would like to introduce my model. She is my winning model. Her daughter is here. Her daughter actually nominated her. A lot of you guys nominated your moms, and it was honestly really hard to choose who the winner would be. There was just so many different choices, and most of them were looking way too young for me to choose. Even she looks way too young. Like, everyone actually looked really, really young in this contest, but I wanted to choose someone who was more realistically representing this age group, 40s to 50s plus, and I felt like she really fit that category nicely. Of course, she has beautiful features, so it did, make my job a lot easier.
I was a lucky one, I guess.
Yes, you were a very lucky one. And I have to say, her hair kind of tipped the scale a little bit. I love how her hair, this is her natural hair color right now. And can you believe she's never tweezed her brows? These are her natural brows. Like, all this stuff I learned about, once we met. So, I was pretty excited to have her on board. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. And we're just going to go ahead and get started. If you guys have any questions throughout this class, I'm happy to answer them. Simply go on my Instagram page on my latest post, which is just of the before and after with no words on it. That's the post where you can scroll down and enter your question. And then after class, I'll take a seat and I will answer some of those questions for you before we say bye. So just so you guys know, especially if you guys are, new here and just want to take this class and see how it goes and everything. Most of my classes last about 2 hours. This one's going to be about 1 hour because it is quicker, more for those of you who just don't really have a whole 2 hours to do your makeup or hour to do your makeup. This is more for like a good 20-minute, 30-minute makeover. But we are going to go a lot slower because I do want to explain to you the benefits of what we're doing. So that's kind of how it works. If you guys want to practice along, feel free to practice along while I'm doing it. But don't forget to write down product recommendations and notes. So definitely have your notepad in front of you. So if there's anything that you don't want to forget, go ahead and write it down. Definitely take your screenshots throughout this class. I highly encourage you to take pictures throughout the class so you remember and look back on the pictures and know exactly what we did and how I was holding the brush and all that stuff. And lastly, if you guys do want to post anything, be sure to hashtag DressYourFaceLive so I can see what you're doing and I can check out your recreations and I can check out your pictures from this class, your screenshots, whatever you want to post, and I can show you guys some love because that's what it's all about, being a community and being a family here on Dress Your Face Live. So without further ado, let's get started. First things first, she has nothing on her face. We just cleansed it with a Neutrogena wipe, and I love the Neutrogena makeup wipes. I was always using the MAC ones, but Neutrogena is awesome, and you can get bulks at Costco. So they have like the big industrial size and then they have the little travel size pouches. So I keep the travel size for my travels. As you know, I travel like every 2 weeks. And then I have my bigger ones for my clients. So we just cleanse your skin a little bit with that. And now we are gonna go ahead and put on some moisturizer. So I know you guys are wondering about, how do you conceal wrinkles? How do you blur the lines? How do you smooth the skin and all that good stuff? Every single thing that I'm teaching in class today will be combating those issues for you guys. So first things first, we are going to apply a really yummy moisturizer on her skin. This is my favorite. Okay, pause. I have super dry skin. So the skincare that I use is actually meant for people that are 50 plus. So I'm saying this from experience. This is seriously the best moisturizer I've ever used for daytime. This is the absolute daytime cream from Lancome. I have other night creams that I've used of many brands that I really like, but I mean for daytime, I love Absolute. And even for night, actually I was a Lancome baby, so I've been using Absolute like forever, and I've always had dry skin. I don't think I've ever had oily skin, so I kind of bathe in this. And this is what I'm going to apply on our lovely model right now. So I'm just gonna
write it down too.
write this down. Absolute cream, and it is pricey. I have to say, yes, it is definitely an investment, but I love it. It's like butter. So we're just gonna go ahead and massage it right into the skin, and this is just gonna lock in any lost moisture in the skin and kind of give a nice buttery feel. This is obviously not the size that it comes in. This is a sample. I keep only samples in my kit because I'm not trying to lug around a 3 ounce or 2 ounce cream. I just want to, have a little something with me just in case of emergency, in case my client's really dry. I have my little thing, and we don't need too much. Just a small amount goes a really long way because this is so buttery soft. A small amount goes a really, really long way. So if you're going to use this for your mother, the brides, for the kits, deal with sample size creams rather than full size. It's all about consolidating in your kit and making sure that you're not over carrying products. I love just condensing and making sure I only have what I really need.
It feels good.
It feels good, yeah? Oh. Love it. Okay, so now that the cream is on, we are going to put on some primer. So the primer that I'm going to use is the Yves Saint Laurent Touche Eclat Blur Primer. This primer is awesome because it gives you a little bit of that radiance, but it also mattifies at the same time. I know that's contradictory statements, but my client here does not have super, super dry skin. She just, has average skin. So I don't want to give her too much crazy moisturizer. So for her, I'm going to use the Yves Saint Laurent Touche Eclat, which is, you can find that at Sephora or any YSL booth or whatever. And this is basically just a blurring. It blurs the skin. So this is going to blur the fine lines. And it's also not going to make her look dry. So plus. Another one, in case someone that you're working with or yourself has super dry skin, then I would suggest the Hourglass number 28 primer serum from Sephora. So I'm using a small amount, and I'm just going to blur the entire skin here. Smoothing under the eyes as well, and around the nose, any areas that have uneven texture. Just smooth it right in, and it basically blurs everything. It does a really, really good job at smoothing the skin and filling in any unevenness. So I love it, and it's good for all ages. Doesn't matter. All ages can use this product. And I'm also going to use it on the décolleté, the neck area, the chest area, and it's going to blur any lines there. Not that she has any, but okay, go ahead and look straight into the camera. Perfect. So now that that's done, can we bring this back? Yeah, sorry. I need it like right on her. Perfect. Beautiful. So now we're going to go ahead and apply some foundation. So the foundation that I'm going to use is going to be a mixture. I love what is this? This is the Studio Sculpt foundation from MAC. It's very creamy and very thick, but also not so heavy at the same time. You can actually thin it out really nicely. And then the other foundation that I'm going to mix with it is the Elsie foundation. This is the Micro Silk foundation by Elsie. My friend Makeup by Lilith has created this brand, and I absolutely love it. I just got a facial a few days ago, and my skin has been super dry ever since because it's going to be dry and peeling for like a week. This is the only foundation that I've been able to use that doesn't make me look dry. In fact, I actually look more radiant with this on. So I'm going to use this and this. I'm going to just mix it together. The colors are NC42, and I'm not sure which one this is. It didn't have a label. I got this a long time ago, like when she first came out with it. I think I got the lab samples, so I don't know what color this is, but it looks like a honey shade. So I'm going to put a little bit on the back of my hand, mix the two together, Alrighty. These are both of them together. And I'm going to use the back of my brush to give it a nice mix. If any of you are asking, why did I decide to mix them together? Well, I don't know. I like to mix stuff. I like to customize stuff. And I just know that I love the creaminess of the Studio Sculpt, but I also love the radiance that the Elsie gives. So I thought I'm just going to mix them to get both of the benefits on my client and see how it goes. And this is what I did when I did the video promo, when I posted that, and it actually looked really good on her skin, so I'm going to stick with that. So when you're applying foundation, I like to use a dual fiber brush. It's the same brush I used on her last time. This is from Morphe Brushes, and the number is... it's completely faded. I honestly don't even know what the number is. This is from their dual fiber brush collection, just so you guys know. And it's just a kind of, this is how it's shaped if you guys want to see it. MorpheBrushes.com has all of these. Just go under brushes by line and then click on dual fiber collection. When you click on that, you'll see a brush looking just like this. And they actually have a lot of different sizes and shapes as well, but this is the one I like. It's a little bit wider on one side, thinner, a little bit tapered if you look at it from the side, so that's the one you want to go for. And I'm literally going to press it right into the skin. And I love the fact that this has such a full coverage, so I don't need to use too much. All I'm doing is giving her a nice even coloring throughout the skin. And making sure that it's being pressed into the skin really nicely. So what it's doing, when you're pressing with the brush, it actually fills in any enlarged pores or fine lines. So you're actually getting a more flawless finish. So work on pressing in the foundation rather than smearing it on and then buffing it. Reaching down just a bit. So when you're applying it, press it in as you're blending. And it'll just fill in and look really, really awesome. Gorgeous already.
I love the glow.
I know, the glow is so nice. It's all about the glow. Everyone loves glow now. I do have my fair share of matte days where I just want that very matte porcelain finish, but
I think it keeps you younger.
oh, totally. The glow is definitely much more youthful. We're going to press it right into the forehead as well. If you're working on someone that has gray hair, be very careful to not, and even blonde hair, be very careful to not get it on the hair. If you do get it on the hair, you could just use a makeup wipe to remove it. Okay, everything's looking nice. We're gonna just do a little bit on the nose. Press it right in, and then whatever's left on my hand, I am just going to roll it right down to the neck area and even out the collarbone. Okay, so now that the foundation is all on her and looking very, very smooth and even, I'm gonna wipe off my brush with a paper towel and go back in, now that there's like nothing left on my brush, just to pick up any excess product. So I've wiped off my brush and I'm just going back in and pressing it into the skin so I can pick up any excess product. What that's going to do is it's going to make sure that this does not cake up later. So I'm just minimizing the amount of product that is sitting on her skin. Okay, so now we're ready for the concealer. And I'm going to use the MAC, which one is this? This is the Moisture Cover Select NW30. This is a Moisture Cover Select from MAC. This is what I like to use for that extra moisturized eye concealer. And go ahead and look up to the ceiling. And I'm just pressing it right into the skin here. Making sure it's just blending right in. If you're working with someone that has excessive dark circles, definitely use a more orange-based concealer first, and then you could use whatever foundation or concealer over it. In her case, I'm using a concealer that has a little bit of that apricot tone in it already, so it brightens up the eyes and conceals in one step rather than having to use a corrector first and then a concealer. But like I was saying, if someone has very excessive dark circles, really dark circles, then you would use an orange concealer first and then a beige concealer. Now whatever's left on my brush, I'm just kind of going around the nose, making sure I'm covering up any type of redness around the mouth as well. Okay? So now we are ready to go ahead and set everything. If your client is asking for a little bit of highlight, or if you want to highlight a little bit, you can absolutely use a lighter color concealer or foundation just in the T-zone area and on the cheeks. If you do that, be very, very careful with your product application. You don't want to go too thick. So for example, if you want to use something like this is the foundation palette from Cinema Secrets. I'm just going in with a medium color, and this color is called 60561 from the kit number 2, 60561. And I'm just going to use this to just brighten up very slightly the core of the cheeks and the face. And I'm just pressing it in with my MAC 130 brush. MAC 130 brush and pressing it in. If you would rather work with a sponge, that's totally fine too. A beauty blender or a sponge would do the same trick. You just have to make sure that you're not cross-contaminating when you're dipping into different colors. I'm just doing a little bit down the bridge of the nose and over here. Okay? So now we've just kind of added a little bit of brightness to the core zones of the face. Now I'm going to go ahead and just set everything. Now I want to talk to you guys about the setting powder. Now you guys know, if you guys have been my students for a while on these classes, you know I don't like loose powder. But as someone who still does Mother of the Bride sometimes, I do have to carry or have available at least one loose powder that I really like, and this one is the Absolute powder. Remember how I like the Absolute moisturizer from Lancome? This is the Absolute powder. So it is also meant for the 45, 55 plus age group, and it does not dry out the skin. What's awesome is that it has this like micro pearl thing technology in it, and what it does is it creates a radiance and a glow to the skin without looking too shimmery and without looking too dry either as a powder. So you'll see what I mean when I put it on her. She's not going to look super mattified. She's just going to have skin really set, and it actually blurs lines as well because it is of the Absolute family. So this is also kind of a pricey powder. It's about $57. It's a little bit under 60 bucks USD, but it is huge. It lasts like forever. I've had this for years. And I use it on days where I'm really, really dry. But lately I've just been kind of using the MAC Studio Fix powder on myself as well. And I've run out of my color for myself, and I don't usually use what's in my kit. So I have another little baby one of these, like a tester size for myself that I really like. So this is like one of the very rare loose powders that I actually do like. And I'm going to put a little bit in the cap on the lid like that, and I'm going to take my MAC 136 brush and just kind of get a little product in here. And what we're going to do is we're going to shake it while it's upright so that the product actually goes into the brush and doesn't fly all over the air. So when you turn it upside down like this, the brush, after you pick it up, go like this and tap. And instead of the particles literally flying everywhere, it's going to mainly fall right into the bristles. So when you're starting to set the skin, you won't run out of product so fast. And you can literally just flick it right on the skin very lightly, and then areas that you want a little bit more mattifying, you can press it into the skin. This is one of the reasons why I like this brush. Again, it's the MAC 136 brush, because you can do this feather stroking and you can do that pressing motion with this brush. So I highly recommend getting a brush like that. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit more product here, tap it right into the bristles, and flick it right on the surface of the skin, and press it on the areas that I want a little bit more matte, and then flick it on any areas that don't require too much setting. And don't forget the shiny T-zones. Excellent. So you see how everything is set really nicely here. It blurs the skin. It starts to look a little bit more healthy, more of a glow. And this color that I used on her is called Absolute Golden. So it's a beautiful shade for those of us who have a little bit of that olive undertone or tan undertone. Isn't it gorgeous? Yeah, now you're going to be addicted to it.
I know. Can you give me bronze color too? Right?
Yeah, it definitely gives you a little color.
Bronze is my favorite.
Mine too. I hate going too light because then it ends up looking ashy. But the skin looks so healthy with a golden tone. I love it. All right, so now that the skin is set, we can now focus on a little bit more under eye concealer setting. Now I know you guys are used to me putting a lot of powder under the eyes, especially because I don't want that concealer to crease. So in her case, I'm not gonna put so much, I'm just gonna put a little bit. I'm gonna go in with my little flat brush here. This is Makeup Forever brush number 108. Any small brush would do, honestly. This is the Golden Peach from the Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Kit. And look up to the ceiling. I'm literally just pressing it right on her lower lash line and right on the actual under eye area, just to make that a little bit more matte and prevent it from creasing throughout the day. Now, the reason why I'm using this brush for it is because it's nice and firm, and I know I'm not gonna poke her eyeball. It's not too fluffy, and it's gonna give me a nice refined motion. So now that her under eyes are completely set and her face is nice and set, we can focus on bronzing. So instead of doing like a cream contour and highlight, which could look very harsh, I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my Samey number 2.1 brush and go into Havana. And I'm gonna bronze her skin with this, just on the outer portions. Now notice, I'm gonna have you turn this way. Notice how I'm just kind of lightly focusing on the outer portion and then moving my way in. Instead of making a line, I'm doing big circles and I'm not pressing hard on the skin. I'm just letting the very tip of my brush do all the work. And that's just creating a little bit of a shading. Do you see that right there? How it's a little bit darker here? And it's not a strong line. So the whole point of makeup for, 50 plus is not to make anything look harsh. You want to make everything look soft and you want everything to look youthful. And technically, contouring does make people look older. So this kind of bronzing technique where it's just a wash of color is going to retain that beautiful youthful quality of her skin without making anybody look older. And turn towards me. So we're gonna start on this outer portion and just roll it towards the center of the face. See that? It just gives a really soft effect. No crazy, crazy lines. Lastly, we are gonna bronze up a little bit the sides of the forehead out here. And I'm also going to squeeze the brush slightly and just add a little bit of a bronze on the side of the nose. This is just for light contouring, nothing crazy. And it's with the same brush. I just squeezed it so that I can get a sharper line. And then whatever is left on my brush, if I need to bronze anywhere else, I'll go ahead and do that.
god, I love the color. I'm so scared of the powder and stuff, but this is like great.
It's great, right?
I never use dry stuff, but this is like wow.
And it doesn't feel dry on the
Not at
skin.
all.
It feels like your own skin. It's breathable. It looks nice. And the fact that it blurs the skin makes a huge difference in how awake and youthful the skin can look throughout the day. Now that that's on, we are going to add a little bit of shimmer. And I'm going to use my Saleha Hollywood Gold. It's SalehaBeauty.com. I think they're still out of stock. Like every time I talk about a product, this stuff like sells out. It's crazy. I've been talking about this for ever since it came out, and like it's gone. But this is Hollywood Gold, and I'm just going to apply a small amount right on the cheekbone itself, and I'm smoothing it in with my fingertips. So again, applying it on the cheekbone and then smoothing it in with my fingertips. And go ahead and look straight into the camera now. And now you see a little bit more of that shine there. It's optional, you know, obviously not everyone wants a lot of shine on their face, but if you're just using it in certain areas with a small brush, it does end up looking very youthful and very tight. The only times I say do not use a shiny shimmer highlight is when you have really oily skin, number one, because I know it's gonna look like a grease ball. And number two, when you have a lot of wrinkles in this area, then you don't do it. But because she doesn't have a whole lot of wrinkles here, it's very nice for us to put it on. It still looks smooth. But if she had a ton of lines over here on her cheek, then we would not use any shimmer at all. We would stick to the Radiant Glow powders with no shimmer in it. It's just like a radiant powder, like the Absolute powder, or we stick with matte, but no actual shimmer. But in this case, we just added a little bit, a little touch, and then whatever's left in our powder brush, we're just going to blend over it, just so it doesn't look too shiny. Okay.
I don't feel heavy at all.
Good, good, good. Yeah, she does not feel heavy at all. That's a good thing. So now that we're done with all of that, we're gonna go ahead and start on the eyes. Oh, actually no, let's do blush. Let's do blush and then we'll do the eyes. So for the blush, I'm gonna use Copper Tone and Plum Foolery. This is Copper Tone. And we're gonna apply it like a feather again, right along where I contoured her a little bit. Right in through here. This is a nice peachy glow. And I'm also gonna add a little bit of Plum Foolery, just so it doesn't look too orange. This is gonna offset the orange because it is plum. And I'm just gonna stick that on the outer portion of the cheeks.
So chic.
Very. And the blushes are matte, so it's not going to look crazy shiny or anything. It is gonna be more of a matte look. The Plum Foolery has a hint of a shimmer, but it's not a noticeable shimmer. Again, I'm going back to that powder brush that still has some particles inside it, just to soften the overall look of the blush. Okay, so now technically the face is done. All we have to do is eyes. So we are going to apply the eyeshadow base all over the eyelid, and the eyeshadow base that I really love is the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre. And I'm just gonna use the same concealer brush, which is number 287 from MAC. I'm gonna use the same concealer brush, just applying it all over, starting with cleaning up the underbrow area and going all the way down to the eyelid and the lash line. A nice thin layer throughout. This is awesome because it almost works as a concealer as well. But don't use it as a concealer for real, like under your eyes. Just focus it on the eyelid because it is a little drying. But what I was saying is it looks like a concealer because it covers up everything on the eyelid. It gives you a nice bright look so that whenever you're, when you're ready to do your actual eyeshadow, it shows up really nicely. And if you don't want to do eyeshadow, you could just do this all over and it just brightens up the whole eyelid. So now that's on, we can do the underbrow highlights. And I'm going to use the Lorac Gold Unzipped palette, this highlight right here, which is called Undressed. And I'll use my flat shader brush, 239 by MAC. And we are going to press it right into her arch and blend it in. Again, pressing into the arch and blending in. So don't worry about blending too much. I like to just throw on color and then at the end it looks blended anyway. So if you still see product on the surface, that's okay because we still have to do the crease and that's gonna kind of wipe off a lot of that surface product anyway. But before we even do the crease and the rest of the eye, I want to do the eyebrows and get them done. So first thing first is I'm gonna go in with a really light pencil called Fling. This is for blondies. Fling by MAC. And I'm going to go in and I'm just going to lighten up her brows with this light color, filling in any space that needs a little bit of density. Small strokes. Okay. And now that we've filled in the brows, we are going to use a brow gel to just make sure that the brow hairs are not moving around. And this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Gel. This is caramel, but they have tons of other colors as well. I'm just going to use it on the outer half of the brow, just for the shaping. Okay.
Wow. Already I'm done.
You already have
crazy.
Amazing brows. And then with your concealer brush, you could always clean up any edges that you feel like need a little bit of a cleanup. So now we're ready for the crease. So we're going to use 217 brush from MAC, and I'm going to dip into Bengal from the Tamana palette. Oops. This is the Tamana palette, Bengal. They also have this as singles. I'm on AnastasiaBeverlyHills.com, and this is the 217 brush from MAC. And we're just gonna roll over her crease, her natural crease. Now, if you're working with somebody who has droopy eyelids, then what you want to do is ignore the part that folds over and just feel with your finger where her socket is, and that's where you want to just add a very soft brown. So this is a soft brown. Never go too dark in the crease, especially when you're working on someone with droopy lids, because it's going to look very, very harsh and very artificial. So you want to focus more on going higher on the bone and going lighter with the color. So bringing your color, like a nice caramel shade, higher towards the brow bone is going to open up the eyes, and if you go too low on the lid, it's going to close your eyes. So again, droopy lids or even not droopy lids, I like to go a little higher so you feel where that socket is, and you just go just right above it, right on top, and do that blending right on top. And this brush actually does a lot of the blending for you, but what you have to do is just make sure that when you're picking up color, not to pick up too much, because when you pick up too much, that product just flies everywhere. So just pick up enough, a little touch of it, and roll it right on the crease and blend it upward so that you're not going too down, no droopy eyelids, everything's looking nice and tight, nice and young, and a good gradient on the eye as well.
It really does. Look at that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
No surgery needed.
No surgery. See, we are like surgeons ourselves. So now I'm going back to the color called Undressed, which is the same color that we used on the brow bone. And I'm going to fill in her whole lid with that. I like to keep everything matte when I'm working on that age group, 40, 50 plus, 60 plus, you know, anyone that just wants a more young look, I stick with a matte eye. If you're going to do shimmer colors, and you're working with someone that has wrinkles on their eyes, it's going to end up looking more wrinkly. So remember what I said about the highlight? If you have a lot of wrinkles here, don't put a highlight here. So same with the eyelid. If the eyelid has a whole lot of wrinkles, you don't want to put a shimmery color. And smooth that all out. And now see how smooth and clean the eyelid looks. Now, if you want to add a little bit of shimmer to this, because she doesn't have a huge wrinkle problem at all on her eyes, it's just soft skin right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to just go in with a little bit of a color that has like a hint of sheen just over here, just so that it pops a little bit on camera, but it's not really necessary. So I'm going to dip into this color called Unpredictable, just a hint of it with the same brush, just a hint. And I'm just going to dab that right on the outer portions of the eyelid, and I'm going to blend it into the center of the eyelid just slightly. And I'm going to use my finger to just kind of smooth it out because I just don't want it to look too disco ball. I want it to look smooth. So now we have a little bit of that pop of shine, but it's not overwhelming. It's looking very soft. Lastly,
I guess I'm done. It's so quick.
yeah, you're done. You can leave. You can leave. Awesome. So go in with a brush like this. We are going to go, you're not done yet. We're going to go in and we're going to darken this area right here. Now this step that I'm about to do works very well if the eyelids are not droopy. If they're droopy, you're going to have to go a little higher with your angle so that it kind of goes back up. So I'll show you that anyway. Morphe brush 506. This little baby right here, we're going to dip into a color called Chocolate. It's a nice dark brown from the Tamani palette, Anastasia Beverly Hills. We're just using the tip of the brush with Chocolate, and I'm just going to apply it right on that outer corner of the eye, and notice how I'm dragging it into that gold, into that beige, so that it just fades right in. And make sure that the angle is going up. You do not want to put dark going below the lash line, because what that's going to do, go ahead and look right into the camera. Now, if she had a very droopy eyelid, and if I go down here with her color, it's going to make her look even more droopy. So what we're doing is we're lifting, we're bringing the color up into a point towards her eyebrow, and that's giving her that lifted effect for her eyes. So pretty. Same thing here, be very careful. And that's why I like this little tiny brush here, because it kind of does the job for me. It's not like this huge brush that I'm expecting it to be, you know, refined. It's not going to be refined if it's too full. So you kind of have to invest in like a smaller brush. And the cool thing about these Morphe brushes, they're very, very affordable. They're a few dollars, up to maybe $9 a brush. And some of these brushes are $4, $3. So you can get a really good deal with some of these brushes, especially you know, when there's sales and stuff going on. So definitely check out Morphe brushes if you're looking to upgrade your brush collection without breaking the bank. All right, so now I just added a little bit of that dark in there. It's looking very nice. And now I'm going to go into Bengal and Chocolate. I'm going to create a medium brown. So don't be afraid to mix colors to create your own custom color. What I'm doing here is I'm creating a medium brown. Instead of a light brown or a dark brown, I need a medium because I want to transition this color into the lid. See what I mean? There's dark, there's light. I'm using medium to transition right in between. And that way it doesn't look so harsh and out of nowhere when I'm like throwing on random colors on the eye. It looks like it's flowing. And notice how I'm not sitting here and I'm not blending back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm just touching the eye and moving it over. And that way I have full control over what I'm doing and nothing goes messy. And if anything falls down and you want to clean up, just use the brush that you use under her eye and look up and just do a little dusting. Simple as that. So now that that is done, we are going to do the eyeliner. And the eyeliner that I'm going to use here is the Real Push-Up Liner. It's a very easy way to put on eyeliner, especially when you want to use gel. You just kind of use the clicker, turn it over, and then product starts to seep out of the top. And you could literally just draw it right on. And it's a rubber tip applicator. So what's cool is that it's not a bristle, so it's not going to just split all over the eye. It gives you a nice even effect. So I'm going to use this for her eyeliner on the top. And what I'm doing is I'm just very carefully starting with the outside. You can start with the inside too, it doesn't really matter. And very carefully, one stamp at a time, working my way to the other side. And I'm lifting the skin. So when you're working on someone, don't be afraid to lift their skin so you can get right in to the lash line. Really, really close into the lash line. And then as far as how thick or how thin you want to go, that's up to you and your client. You know, how dramatic they really want to go, completely up to you guys. But this is not it. We are going to blend it out. We are going to smoke it out. I want you guys to know how to work with clients that have more wrinkly eyelids and droopy eyelids. So the way to do it is first I go ahead and do this, you know, this liner technique, and I'm going to do a wing going upward. So I'm just doing a little wing, not a crazy wing. Okay, so that wing is on. And what we're going to do at this point is we're going to go in with a small itty bitty brush. This is my little smudger brush from Morphe 515. M515 brush from Morphe. And I'm going to dip into Noir and Chocolate. That's the black and the dark brown shades. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go over the edge of that eyeliner and we're blending it, smudging it, so that nothing looks harsh. There will be no strong, harsh lines on her at all. Everything's going to look very soft and very faded. So see how that just kind of blends it a little bit? And then you can go back to the brush that you were using under the brow and go a little lower with that. And that overlapping is what creates that transition. So it just doesn't look so strong with the black line. It actually has a little bit more of a fade to it. And if you want it to look warmer, you can always...
It still looks natural.
It still looks natural. It doesn't look crazy. It still looks natural. You can always add brown. If you don't like black, you could do brown instead. This is just a pencil brush. Add brown and smooth the edge instead if you don't like black. So those are the two options. If you want to do black, I love black. I'm a glam girl. I love black. If you want to do brown, that is the chocolate version. Just adding a little bit of brown over it does the trick. So I'm just going to clean up here, make sure that none of the dust is on her, and we'll do the same thing on the other side so you guys can see. We're going to do the eyeliner with the push-up liner from Benefit. You can find this at Macy's, Sephora, Ulta. Very easy to use. And the cool thing is when you're doing that smudge liner look, you don't even have to do the regular liner very clean. You could do it really messy because you're going to smudge it anyway. So as long as it's on, that's all you need. So I have the eyeliner on, that's it looking sharp. And then back to the little smudger brush, mixing chocolate and noir together. And we're now going to smudge the liner. Remember to lift up the skin so you can get right in there and you can get a nice smooth effect. And now I can go back with my pencil brush, just add a little bit of brown, just to soften it up a little bit if you don't want black. And then the flat paddle brush to drag her lid color downward, and that gives you the perfect gradient effect. So it just looks nice and soft and smudgy and pretty.
For me, chic.
Chic.
It's chic.
It's just chic. So now I'm going to brighten up her waterline using the NARS Larger Than Life Nude Eye Pencil. Rue Bonaparte is the name. And go ahead and look up to the ceiling. I'm just gonna color in her waterline with this awesome nude pencil. See that? Nice and bright. Okay, so we just brightened up the waterline a little bit. And now we're gonna go in with a smudger brush again with chocolate this time. And look up to the ceiling. We're gonna add a little bit of chocolate and smudge it right on the outer 2/3 of her eye. So the outer third is gonna be the stronger application. Chin down just a little bit and look up to the sky. Yeah, right there. So the outer third has the darker area. Outer third. And then you're gonna fade it and go lighter and lighter and lighter as you go into the middle third. And you're not gonna put anything on the inner third. So outer third strong, middle third light, inner third nothing. And that is a very soft liner for the bottom, so it doesn't look overwhelming. It just gives kind of a, you know, a brightening effect, but nothing too crazy. Go ahead and look right into the camera. So now you can kind of see that it just gives a very soft effect. So now we're gonna curl her lashes and apply some mascara. So as you can see, the eyes did not take long, just a few steps here and there, and look down to the floor. You don't really have to, you know, focus too much on precision or anything. The only tricky part is if you're working on someone with downturned eyes, then you want to make sure that you're not going too low with the eyeliner on this outer corner, that you're not going low. You want to go higher to give you that lift. And also, when you're doing the wing, like let's say if they want a wing, if you're doing a wing, do not lift the eye to do the wing. Make the wing while you're not moving the eye so that you know exactly where it's going. Because if you're gonna move the skin and then draw the wing, and then you let it go, it's gonna go somewhere else. So always when you're making a wing, something so precise like that, do not move the skin around. Leave her eyes the way they are. Draw the wing where you think it looks best by adding that lift. And then once you make your mark, then if you need to move around and go a little bit more precise, you can. But as long as you make that wing when you're not pressing and moving around the skin, that's the best way to go so you're not like losing your spots. Okay, so let's put on some mascara. This is their real mascara from Benefit. The black, go ahead and look up to the ceiling. We're gonna do the bottoms first. You have some amazing lashes. Beautiful. I love it. So we got that on the bottom. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a sweep just to make sure that none of the smudgies got down. And now I'm going to do her top. She can just look down to the floor. I lift the lid all the way and I'm just spiking it right up. The cool thing about this mascara is that it has bristles on the very top as well. So when you're working like this, it'll spike up the lashes for you. You don't have to worry about getting mascara all over the eyelid and smearing it all over. So I start off sideways. And then for the little baby lashes, you can use the tip of the mascara wand. Go ahead and blink. Yeah. Okay, so now that that is done, we're going to use a soft, fluttery eyelash on her. I'm going to put on Model 21 lashes in style number 21. It looks like this. They're very natural, and they have a little flare at the end, so I'm going to give the eyes a nice lift with this. So it's from model21lashes.ca. That's the website from Canada. And they're number 21. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to curl them. So hold on to the lashes, give it a little curl so that they stick right up and it opens up the eyes. We're going to apply a little glue, a little lash glue. And then we're going to wait for the glue to get really sticky and then apply it. You can use duo adhesive or you could use a brush-on lash glue. We're just going to wave it in the air until it gets really, really sticky, because if you put on false lashes, especially when you're not used to putting on false lashes, and you throw them on, and if the glue is not sticky enough, it's going to slide all over the eye. It's going to make a huge mess, and you don't want that to happen. So we're just going to give this a little time to get sticky before we apply it. So when we do apply it, it doesn't slide around and it just sticks right on. And now center to center. And open your eyes and just kind of look down. We're going to make sure this outer corner, when I'm applying the lashes, we're making sure this outer corner is lifting up a little bit. So it's going a little bit higher than her natural lash. Open. And that is how I get a little bit more of a lift. But we just have to wait for that glue to dry. It's the white glue from Duo. It'll dry clear, so no worries. Again, I'm going to take this other lash and I'm going to curl it.
I can't stop looking at it.
I'm going to apply some glue. And we're going to wait for that glue to get really sticky before we actually put it on. Just wave it, let it get really sticky. In the meantime, while this gets sticky, I want to show you another variation for the eyeshadow. If you want to incorporate a little color, I go in with Sangria from my Tamana palette, Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's like a maroonish burgundy. And you can add that right in the upper crease just to create a little bit of that, color. It's kind of like a cranberry shade. And that is really nice for special events, especially if you don't want to go too neutral with it. That just gives enough color and it's still not overwhelming. Go ahead and look down. And remember, the outer corner of the eyelash needs to lift up. A little bit higher than where her actual eyelash ends. Open your eyes. So it has this lifted effect. Close again. We're going to let this dry for just another few seconds. Okay, while those dry, let's do her lips. So I'm going to use Soar by MAC, Soar Lip Liner, S-O-A-R. And we are going to line the natural lip first, and then we're going to overline. So first line the natural lip, especially if you don't have very, very, very full lips. If you want to create the effect of fuller lips, I usually start off just with my own natural first, giving it a little color. And then now that the natural is on, it'll be easier for us to double that line and create bigger lips. So now that I made that, I'm going to line right over that. And that way, instead of starting off really high, and then God knows where we end up, this keeps us in the right shape. So start with your natural, and then build. Okay, so now we have this nice full pout. Of course, you want to ask your client, how crazy do we want to go? Because sometimes if you just go crazy right away, the client may not like it. Or if it's just too neutral or too natural, the client may not like it. So you always want to ask before you do anything really different.
You don't have to ask me.
Oh.
I give you carte blanche.
Sounds good. So I just got this new Anastasia Beverly Hills lip color. It's really amazing. It's super matte and it's long lasting. So she's going to love it because it's going to last all night. She doesn't have to worry, especially if this was her daughter's wedding or something. She would not have to worry about leaving the guests and reapplying every 5 minutes. This stuff lasts forever. So try a matte lip cream. It lasts a really long time. This color is called Dusty Rose. It's by Anastasia Beverly Hills. And we are going to apply this on the lips, one very clean layer. Now this is new, so I'm using it straight, but you know, if it's in your kit, then always use a lip brush so you're not contaminating. So we're gonna let that dry. Dusty Rose. And while we let that dry, we're going to darken the edges of the lips with this color called, it's also from MAC, and it's called Half Red. It's just a little bit deeper. So I'm just darkening up the outer edges of the lip liner. Okay, now that that's done, we have to clean up the edges of the mouth. Now, of course, if you're just doing your own makeup for every day, you don't have to take all these steps. I mean, you can choose what steps you want to keep, what steps you want to get rid of. But for those of you like me who love to do weddings, we are going to be doing Mother of the Brides. And even with anybody, this is a step that's really important to clean up around the lips. So go ahead and dip into whatever concealer that you used on her or whatever palette you used. And we're going to use the Cinema Secrets here. And I'm just cleaning up the very edges of the makeup. And that's going to sharpen up her lip line. And correct any mistakes I've made. This brush, by the way, I bought it at Michael's Art Supply. So it's not a makeup brush, but I love it because it has this cool angle to it. I love to clean up the lips with this. This is from American Painter brand, and it says 1/2 on it, and then it says 4400. So I don't know what's the number, but that's what it says, and I got it at Michael's Art Supply. I love Michael's for, you know, fun brushes that you usually can't really find at a makeup store. All right, so now we are pretty much done. If you want to add more mascara, you absolutely can. No big deal. If you want to blend anything, if you want to just kind of take a step back and look at what we've done and see if there's anything else we want to adjust, that's fine too. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to clean up any areas that the glue hasn't dried yet. So close your eyes. Right in here, I'm just going to use my liquid liner to cover up. There we go. Cool. And lastly, just a finishing touch of whatever is left from my powder brush. This is just going to give a nice finished look. And voila, we are done with the makeover.
Wow.
I love it. You look so classy, so sophisticated, and so glamorous at the same time. So remember, guys, if you're going to do this on yourself, or if you're going to do this on your Mother of the Brides or any of your clients, of course, there are so many degrees to a makeover. You don't have to go so heavy. You don't have to go so light. You can do whatever it is that your client wants to do. There is no black and white here. It is all, there's a gazillion shades of gray in between. So if your client wants to go glam, you go glam. If your client wants to go natural, you go more natural. And, in this case, we're right in the middle.
Between.
Yeah, exactly. We just both
say both.
Yeah, it is both. It's natural enough because we didn't do heavy contouring, we didn't do heavy applications, we just kept it smudgy and soft. And it's glam enough because we did use lashes, we did do that corner darkening of the eye, and we gave the eye a lift with all of that, the wing, the lashes, and everything up here. We did that lifting thing right there, and so it just looks really, really classy. So we're gonna have you just kind of turn side to side, pose for the camera, let everyone see the beauty that we've just done. Yeah, look up, look down, all that good stuff. All that good stuff. And it just looks radiant, and it doesn't look like we put a lot of powder on, even though we did, a few layers, but the powder was definitely a blurring powder, and that's definitely what I recommend, getting stuff that says blur on it, or anything that minimizes lines. That's exactly what we want to go for, and no harsh contouring. So we're going to zoom out now so you can get the full effect of how everything looks from far, and it just looks classy,
Very classy.
Chic, as she likes to say.
Chic. I just want everything to be chic, and it is. It is really chic. And bronze is my favorite color. It's so funny that you went with that because
I love bronze too.
That's my favorite.
It's still summer, technically. We can still go bronze.
And I don't look older.
No.
Thanks to you.
Aw, thanks. No,
really,
you just have a young look.
I just want to go home and take a shower, but I really want to keep it forever.
That's the thing. Sometimes makeup can make us look older. I mean, when I'm not wearing makeup, I look like I'm 12. And then when I am wearing makeup, I look my age. I'm 30 exactly. And I feel like I look my age when I wear makeup, especially when I'm heavy contouring. Today I didn't do so much. I did a little bit. But when I'm heavily contoured, I do look older. And so when you're working on someone who wants to look younger, you do kind of the opposite. So you don't contour really, you focus more on that overall evenness, the smoothness. You're giving a glow without adding too much shimmer. You're doing, everything that you could possibly do to blur the skin rather than sharpen the skin. What we're doing at a very, very young age is sharpening and doing this and doing that. And what we want to do is the opposite for anyone who wants to look
so natural. I'm looking from the distance. It's like so natural.
Yeah. I love it. I think you look amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you, really. This is perfect.
Yeah. So now I'm going to hop in the seat. Her daughter is right here, so she's going to go give her daughter a big hug. And they're going to take pictures, and we're all going to take pictures afterward. But in the meantime, I'm here to answer some of your questions. All right. So go ahead and ask away on my latest post on Instagram, which is the before and after of my beautiful client today. This one right here. Go ahead and ask your questions on this post on my Instagram page, and I'll go ahead and answer. Okay, I have about 200 questions right now. There might be more. Okay, let's see. Let's see what's the most popular questions here. Oh, sorry for the delay a little bit. We wanted to make sure there was a lot of you that logged into this class. Very, very popular request. So we were a little low. Oh, cheers. Cheers. I don't have a drink, but cheers. We're just going to all wine and dine after. So I apologize for the slight lag in the beginning. We just wanted to make sure that the connection was really strong for you guys so that it doesn't buffer and act all crazy. So yes. Oh, good. Okay. Rockizi or Rocio Z MUA is asking, when a client with mature skin wants a very shimmery or dramatic look, do you do it anyway, or how do you suggest something more appropriate? Older Mexican women seem to want to go all out with their makeup. Okay, so when you have a client that wants to go all out, I mean, I love going all out. I've done a lot of moms, and I get so excited when the moms want to go glam. And the way to do it more appropriately is Of course, not to add so much shimmer all over. You want to give them the shimmer that they want if they're asking for it, but instead of putting it on everywhere on their eye or everywhere on their cheek, just focus on the areas that are smooth. So if this area of the cheek is smooth, go ahead and put it there, but then you don't want to put it on the apple if the apple has big pores or anything like that. And then as far as the eyeshadow on the lid, keep the shiny colors on the areas that are smoother. So on the brow bone where it's really smooth, usually there's not a whole lot of wrinkles on the brow, so that's where you could add a little bit of that shine. But on the lid, if it's very crepey and it has a lot of lines, then you don't want to put much shimmer there. But I did demonstrate a mixture of matte and shimmer on my client today on her lid, where it basically just created a sheen rather than a shimmer, and that way it's a compromise. But you know, if you're going to do someone's makeup and you absolutely hate the look that they've chosen and you really don't want to do that, honestly, I mean, there's two sides of this. I mean, you're in customer service, so you want to make sure your customer's happy. If that's what she really wants, you kind of have to deliver it. But at the same time, you're the artist, and it's kind of like going to Picasso and saying, I want you to not make all those squiggly lines in Starry Night. You know, it's your art. It's what you are known for. It's, you know, they're hiring you because they like your style. So you want to incorporate a little bit of your style in the makeup, you know, work that you're doing. So in that case, you know, usually what I do if I totally disagree with the client's choice is I just do what they want. I take a picture of it, and then I do what I want, and I take a picture of that. And usually a photograph doesn't lie, and that's when you can usually get them to get on your side if your picture looks better. So, you know, or sometimes, you know, once in a while the client is really right, and it's like, oh, she knows her skin well, she knows she can handle this makeup, okay. And then another thing you could do is if you're unsure of how to go too crazy on someone who, you know, you weren't originally going to go crazy on, ask to see some of their makeup pictures from the past where they did go a little bit more glam, so you have an idea of what it looks like, so you're not so afraid to do it. Okay, so Jazira Makeup, I love your questions, my dear. Where exactly to put the blush if the cheek skin is very loose and going down? Okay, so if you're looking at saggy cheeks, you want to keep the blush nice and high. So instead of, like, let's say the hollow of the cheek is way down here, you don't want to put too much blush on the lower area. You want to lift everything. So same with the eyes. If the eyes are drooping down, you want to make sure the shadow is higher and it stops at a high point. Same with the blush. You want to focus the blush on the upper areas of the cheek if the cheeks are very droopy. Aw, thank you guys. Oh, everyone loves it. They're writing such sweet things about you. Okay, so PK Kala 1 says, when I use Studio Fix powder to set, my skin looks really dry and my fine lines are accentuated and I look very wrinkly and my pores are more noticeable. I use all the things you mentioned. What am I doing wrong? Okay, so if you have uneven skin texture or fine lines and you're using a whole lot of Studio Fix powder, sometimes it is going to accentuate if it looks too dry. So one of the things that you could do is if you want to continue to use Studio Fix, okay, the reason why I love Studio Fix is because it's so full coverage that it's almost like putting makeup over makeup. I mean, it is kind of putting makeup over makeup because Studio Fix is a foundation powder, but I love the cake. So I go over and over and over with it. But the thing is, if it's not looking right on you, if it's accentuating the lines and pores, what you could do is use a product that can fill in the lines and pores a little bit better. Like, for example, Benefit has this product called Professional. Whoa, I got really blurry all of a sudden. Oh, okay, there. So Professional, and this is going to fill in, you know, minor changes in the skin texture. So that will help, or anything that's, you know, claims to fill in pores or fill in lines. So try that underneath your makeup. And then another thing is you may end up liking the Absolute powder instead, or the Ageless Mineral. So Lancome has the only two loose powder products that I ever liked, ever. And I don't think I'll ever like anything else as far as a loose product is concerned. I hate loose. But there are two loose powders out there in the world. Both of them are by Lancome that I actually appreciate. One is the one we use today, which is the Absolute powder. This powder is meant for those who have enlarged pores and fine lines and wrinkles. It actually reflects light away from this face, so it looks very luminous and very smooth and blurred at the same time. So this is what I would recommend to try if you want, you know, to try something different. Or Ageless Mineral. Ageless Mineral is also by Lancome, and that is a powder. I don't even know if they still make it. Every time I go to buy my color, which is why I haven't bought it in years, they're always out. So I don't know if they discontinued it or if, I mean, I really don't know. You might want to check with like a L'Oreal outlet or something. But anyway, Lancome has Ageless Mineral, and it's amazing because it's not a typical mineral makeup where it's like feels tight and it's really like dry. It's actually very, very smooth and micro refined, and it looks really good on the skin. So Ageless Mineral is another option. And the cool thing about Ageless Mineral is that it has a buildable coverage. So you can actually cover a lot. It kind of works just like the Studio Fix, but it's really, really crushed and it's really refined and really smooth. So try that and see if you like that better. And that's gonna be closer to the effect that the Studio Fix does, rather than this one, which is more of a medium coverage and a buildable coverage. But this one is, you know, in my opinion, a little bit more sheer than the Ageless Mineral. So those are my other suggestions for you. Okay, Unaza underscore is asking, I'm never able to get my foundation right. When I put it on, it's perfectly fine, but then after a few hours, it turns a little darker. I have combination skin. Do you have any suggestions for me? Yes, what's happening is it's oxidizing. The foundation's oxidizing and it gets darker over time. So what you want to do is try to find a color that is one shade lighter or two shades lighter than that, but make sure you're not going too pale, meaning like, stick with a warm tone, especially if you have a warm undertone to begin with. Stick with warm tones, because if you go too light with foundation and if it's like a pink tone, it's going to turn gray on you. So stick with something more warm, more apricot, peachy, and you know, go a little lighter with that. And that way, when it does oxidize after, you know, a few minutes or a couple hours, if you're saying that, it's going to get a little darker, but it'll end up matching your tone because you started off lighter. And at the same time, it's not going to go gray and ashy on you because you went a little bit more orange or more peachy with your color choice. Okay, so Sandy Ovae 13 is asking, what do you do when the client starts watering while doing eye makeup? OMG. That is one of the things that is like nightmare status for any makeup artist. And I've found ways where I just kind of deal with it. I stopped freaking out after all these years. Nothing real. I don't really react to things that go wrong. I mean, the world can be crumbling down around me and I'm just going to sit here like, all right, this too shall pass. So when a client is watering, I have a Q-tip. I just grab a Q-tip and I sit there and I just grab the tears. So you want to stick it right in the tear duct where the water is coming from and just hold it there and continue to absorb. Do not keep jabbing at her eye. It's only going to get worse. The only thing you can do is wait it out. So if while her eyes are watering, if you want to work on something else on her face, her lips, her brows, her face, whatever it is, work on something else, give her a break, and have her hold that Q-tip up while you're doing the rest of the stuff, or you can hold the Q-tip up with one hand and do something else with the other hand. Whatever you want to do, just make sure that the water is being absorbed and that you're not continually jabbing at her eye because it's only going to get worse. So just utilize your time on something else during that moment. And let's say you're done with everything else and this is the very last step and you're putting on lashes and that's when she starts to water. You literally just have to wait. So continue to grab fresh Q-tips so that it's nice and dry. Continue to absorb the water. Use a little bit of powder around the edges of her eyes just to grab any excess moisture. Make sure that the eyeliner, when you're putting on eyeliner, for example, let's say you're doing the waterline and it starts to water, one thing you could do is instead of using an eyeliner in the waterline, you could try a black eyeshadow or a dark brown eyeshadow. Since it's drier, it'll stick a little bit better and the water of her eye is actually going to make it stronger. So try that method. And then you can always go back with some gel liner if you need to, do anything else with that. But yeah, I just tend to use more eyeshadow in that case, less cream product on the eye, and I just kind of wait it out until she feels a little bit better so I can just go for it. Okay, what primer should we use for a mother of the bride or groom that has dry skin? I highly recommend Hourglass serum, the Hourglass 28 serum from Sephora, or I don't know if Ulta might have it or any of the other places, but I know Hourglass is at Sephora, and it's called the number 28 primer serum, and that's amazing. It's like oily, but it's not greasy. It's just like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like buttery soft. It's like melted butter, but it doesn't feel greasy on the skin. It actually feels really light and smooth on the skin. I use that when I'm really, really dry, and that's what I love. For my client today, she didn't have super, super dry skin. It wasn't like thirsty skin. It was, pretty combination normal. So I ended up using the YSL Blur Primer for her instead, which kind of works the same way, but without the greasy feel or the thick feel. I love that you guys loved this class. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Natty Makeup Art is saying, when working on a wedding or at a wedding, do you ask for people to bring pictures of what they want, or do you just do what you think is more appropriate based on the person's features? If the person has pictures on their phone, like most of us have screenshots of things that have inspired us. So most of them will have pictures to look at. I like to look at pictures because it gives me a better idea of what I'm expected to do. Because sometimes I may think that a certain amount is enough for them, and then they're expecting something completely different. And the last thing I want is for my client to feel like she got gypped at an appointment, or to feel that, oh, wow, she did way too much. Like, I want them to get what they wanted. So I ask them to show me some pictures if they have any, and if they don't have any, then okay, I go ahead and think of something that I want to do for them, and then I explain to them what I plan on doing, and then I just do it. So I always let them know what to kind of expect. And some of them, especially lately, I would say this year, like the majority of my clients have come in saying, do what you want, but I really love blah, blah, blah. So you're getting a little bit of that freedom, and you're also kind of finding out what they like. And then if some of the clients say, oh, I have no idea what I want, just do whatever you want on me, that I kind of like and I kind of don't like, because I like it because I know that they trust me, and it's such an honor to know that, whatever I do, she may like it. But what scares me is that what if I do something that she absolutely hates, but I love it? And the thing is, I may love something, but if you as a client don't love it, you're never going to feel confident in that makeup. And makeup should make you feel confident and make you feel like a better woman and a stronger woman, or whatever, however you want to feel. And if I'm putting a makeup on you that doesn't make you feel that way, then it defeats the purpose. So if I'm given that situation where someone has no idea what they want to do, I ask them, okay, I have an idea of what I want to do, blah, 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 and I explain what I want to do. But if I really don't know, then I'll ask them, okay, what are the things I'm not allowed to do? And usually they'll have at least one or two things that they absolutely hate about makeup, and then they'll tell me. So one of the popular things is, I don't want too much black. And I'm like, oh crap, because I use a lot of black, but at least I know that she's not going to let me do so much black, and it's better to know ahead of time than afterward trying to blend it all out. So that's like a blessing in disguise when someone says that they don't like something. And then another popular answer is, I don't want to look too cakey. Now, when they say that, I'm like, because I like cake on cake, and that's the style that I do. And that's usually what you're seeing in all my pictures. So then I ask them, okay, show me pictures that you like on my page. And they'll pick out all the pictures that are the most cakiest, but it doesn't look cakey on camera. So then I have to explain to them that, okay, I'm going to do something that's not going to look cakey, but I have to tell you, you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to see a lot of makeup. It's going to be a lot of makeup. But it's not going to look heavy or feel heavy. It's actually going to look amazing in pictures, and it's better for pictures. So usually they're like, oh, okay, I trust you, whatever, and then you're fine. So it is now 8:30. I'm going to have to say bye-bye. But before I leave, I just wanted to talk about two things. Common questions that I had over the past few days that I wanted to make sure that I talk about today. One of those things is certification. We are going to start the round 2 of enrollment once round 1 has graduated and completed everything. I want to hear everyone's feedback. I want to know what areas you want me to change in it. So for those of you who are in the testing group of the first batch of my certification students who got the really good deal, the pricing and everything, those of you who are doing it now, we have sent you all of those classes. You have the next 60 days to complete it and to take your test and to pass. There's a test for hair and there's a test for makeup, and if you've done both of the classes, there are going to be both classes will be tested for you, and as soon as you pass, you'll be able to download your certificate, and yay, you're Dress Your Face certified. But it doesn't end there. I want you guys to let us know what you loved about it, what you didn't love about it, so that I can then tweak the system and have it ready for public this winter. So most likely around December time is when we're going to roll out the winter enrollment, and that will be a much larger enrollment instead of the limited enrollment that we have now. So I hope you guys understand. If you guys missed it, don't worry, I'm still here. We're not going anywhere. You will get your certificate, and we will make sure that that program is ready for you. But this is my test batch, and I wanted to make sure that the people who have been waiting, and I know a lot of you have been waiting too, can just get right in and do the test batch with us, and we can all learn together in this case. So that's what's going on with that. And then the last thing is, a lot of you asked a lot about my face laser treatment that I recently did. I think it was like Monday or Tuesday. It was Monday, I think, or Sunday. I can't remember. I think it was Monday. I did this whole facial thing, laser thing that I wrote about on Instagram, and I shared with you guys, and I got a lot of questions on it, so I'm just going to go ahead and answer it now. I did it to basically remove any hyperpigmentation in my skin, acne scarring, pore size, tightness in my skin, everything like that. I'm 30 and I have not really ever had a major acne issue or anything because I've always had dry skin, but whenever I had a blemish, I would pick at it and I would try to remove it and do all these crazy things to my face. So I got scarred all over my chin. I got scarred on my forehead. I got scarred, and these scars just don't go away. So I spoke with a bunch of people, and I had been doing microdermabrasion about 5-6 years ago. I tried microdermabrasion. It didn't really help with that. It helped with my dryness though. It got rid of a lot of the patchy flakes, but it didn't really help with a lot of the pigmentation. I don't want to go all the time. It's very abrasive. So I spoke with the people at Laser Away, and they had mentioned Clear and Brilliant Facial, and that facial is a laser facial. It hurts, okay? So they have to kind of numb your skin a little bit with a cream. It hurts, and they do it, and it doesn't last very long. It's just a routine appointment, whatever. And then what happens is your skin feels like sandpaper. It gets really rough. It basically kind of sunburns your skin so that the top layer of your skin can just be removed and your new skin can be rejuvenated and come out with a lot more radiance and things like that. This is only for those who really feel like they need it. And because of all my scarring, and I wear a lot of makeup normally, today I can't because I'm still healing, but normally I wear full coverage foundation, full coverage powder, full coverage whatever, whenever I'm in front of the camera for you guys or whenever I'm taking pictures. Day to day I don't, but when I gotta look like who I am, I have to, do my thing. So I don't want to have to put so much stuff on. So that's why I really wanted to try this laser treatment. So far, so good. Day 1, I was super rough, super peely. Day 2, I was peeling everywhere. I tried to put on some makeup and it was just not happening. But the cool thing is, you guys saw my Snapchats. It didn't look bad. Film and, photos, it didn't look bad at all. Actually, my skin pretty much looked really good. But up close and personal, you can see the dryness and stuff. And right now, I think you can see some patches here. There's still some areas that are blotchy from the dryness. Some of my skin is still rejuvenating. So yesterday and today, I had a lot of peeling. And today, I was only able to put on some LC foundation and a very little bit of powder, and then I added a lot of highlight. So that's why my skin is looking very radiant right now, but honestly, without makeup, it's so dry. And it's gonna continue to be dry for about a week. So they said it's about a 1 week downtime with the skin, but it's not red or anything, it's just dry. So I hope that answers some of your questions. We're supposed to do it every few weeks. And after a few treatments, I'll be done, anywhere from 3 to 6 treatments total. And then once you're done, you basically just have a little bit more even skin tone and tighter skin, collagen removal, all that stuff. So, I didn't really go in for the tighter skin thing, but I did go in for the scars here, and I'm hoping that they fade. So I will let you guys know how that goes. And I guess that's it. So I will see you soon for the next class. If you guys are wondering when the next class is, please look at the schedule on the homepage of dressyourfacelive.com. You will see the whole schedule. I'm constantly adding classes like all the time based on your requests. So if you have any requests, please list them in the comments on my last post so that we can get your requests in and add them to the schedule. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna let you guys go. Have an amazing evening. If you guys ended up doing your mom's makeup today, or if you see the recording of this later and you want to do your makeup or your mom's makeup, please hashtag dressyourfacelive so I can see and I can comment and I can love your pictures. Okay, I will see you next time and have a good evening. Bye.